All right. Welcome to today's February R&R session. My name is Shelly, and while we have folks joining us, I just want to remind everyone to grab a couple of tissues for today's practice. We're going to be doing some nostril breathing, and it really helps with our runny noses this time of year, really any time of year, to have some tissues on hand. And a reminder for those of you participating today, we are going to be changing the Zoom link. We're upgrading, and so it's going to shift the Zoom link that I use for this R&R session. So be on the lookout for the email reminder. We're probably going to send several emails for the March R&R, and it's going to include the new session link, and that will too be stagnant. So it'll be repeating month to month, but be on the lookout for the new Zoom link, especially if you have it as a recurring appointment in your calendar. And again, a reminder to grab those tissues. So my name is Shelly Maxwell. I am a counselor with the Ascension, Wisconsin EAP program. I'm located here in Oshkosh, where I see clients and where I also teach yoga. I've been practicing for over 25 years and teaching for, I think, 6. And this R&R session started during COVID, and because people have responded well to it, we've kept it going for over 2 years, I think. And so I want to welcome you all for this half hour. We are recording. And so when we're recording these, they get placed on our Ascension, Wisconsin EAP YouTube channel, and you can find all of our previously recorded R&R sessions so that you don't have to wait for the next month. If you want to put it into your schedule on a regular basis, you can pull up the playlists. There's plenty of also other apps like Calm or Insight Timer. YouTube has a ton of different relaxation recordings as well. So I hope that if this hasn't inspired you to investigate more, that you think about doing so and bringing this into your life more on a daily basis if it isn't part of your practice. So let's get started. I've been very affected by the fog of recent weeks. And even last week, I started telling clients, like, how's your March going? Because it has felt like March. And I don't know if all of you are in Wisconsin and experiencing the fog, or if we're having this kind of fog in other parts of the United States, but it can have an effect on us emotionally. Monday, I felt it cognitively. Like I could not, by the end of my last sessions of the day, I was having such a hard time putting two thoughts together. I kept losing my train of thought. Can affect our behaviors. So, if you guys want to mention in the chat how fog has affected you, that's been occurring in our environment. But I also want to acknowledge that sometimes we have clear skies and there's a fog within us. And I certainly experienced this after the death of my mom. I just felt like the times I've experienced grief, there's such a brain fog as we integrate and digest the implications of the losses we've gone through. And it can be frustrating because we know there's a bigger perspective. We know this isn't who we are, but we just can't shake it. I don't know. Can any of you relate to that? Yeah. So there's different ways that we can cope with the fog, whether it's happening in our environment and it's outside of us and affecting us, or whether it's inside of us, right? And so in order to figure out how to cope with fog, right, emotionally, cognitively, even behaviorally, and when I say behavioral, maybe think about what that would look like for you. For me, it's like a heaviness, a dullness, okay? I think one thing to really note about fog, though, is the beauty, right? How it lands on the branches and the pine needles. And when the sun does come and the light hits it, oh, it's right, beautiful, beautiful. It's been just a fantasy world outside, driving around and seeing everything glisten. But what does nature tell us about fog? What lifts the fog? Okay. And so I started to think about the sun. Monday I was like, okay, I've had enough of this. I can't function like this anymore. And the sun was actually, I barely saw it. It was much like this picture. And then it was starting to set, by the time I got done with my last client. And so the whole idea of finding my inner light, my inner sun, just was not resonating. It wasn't doing it for me. And then I realized, it is the sun, but it's more than the sun. It's the warmth of the sun. It's the heat of the sun. Okay. And so how we can bring together our mental faculties and help through the emotional heavy lifting that emotional fog creates is how do we access our heat, our inner heat? Okay. And breath is key. So I'm going to teach you some different breathing techniques as part of our deep breathing feature. But I want you to put yourself in that space of fog for a little bit and what that's been feeling like. And then we're also going to work on um, some grounding practices before we move into the breathing, okay? Because often if I'm feeling sluggish, especially if I'm stressed or in this like go, go, go mode, which I really try not to be in, but it happens, right? Sometimes I have to do some grounding first before I can really come into my breath. So there's the breath, the warmth of the breath helps. Before that is the grounding. And the first thing we have to really reevaluate is the meaning we're putting towards the fog, because meaning can really put even more weight to it, right? If we're saying it's bad or it's awful, we might say, oh, it's a nuisance, right? But you have to really see how that is motivating you, which direction it's driving your energy. For me, Monday night, when I said, okay, this is a nuisance enough, it took me into energy of, I need to really explore this and figure out what to do. It didn't demotivate me where I felt defeated. And we always want to think about that when we're putting meaning. A big practice in Eastern philosophy, especially Buddhism, yoga, but especially Buddhism, is to welcome it, right? It's our teacher. And gosh, the fog on Monday, as much as I felt affected by it in a way I didn't enjoy, it was such a beautiful teacher to me. So when we get guarded against it or push it away, then we're not learning the lesson, but that's an energy too of resistance. And what's the good in resisting fog, right? It goes nowhere. So how do we work with it and let it be our teacher so that we can learn new ways of moving through it, right? And let it it's part of our world. Okay. We can't just hit the delete button on it or, turn on the light switch for the sun. So let's start with some grounding. And we're going to come into our feet. And so I've switched the slide where I'm showing the different things that give us a sense of connection. And I want you all to invite in what gives you direction when you're feeling foggy. Okay. So with your feet rooted on the floor, start to think about maybe your religious or spiritual practices that give you a sense of connection. Because here's the thing, in fog, the connection is not going to be outside of us, it's within us. Okay, so if you want to close your eyes and think about what internally gives you a sense of connection. You know, that light, that direction. What's your North Star? What's that lighthouse beam for you that you stay focused on, that gives you a sense of meaning, maybe a sense of hope? Okay. And as you settle into that sense of connection, those things that have helped you felt connected with yourself internally, notice the warmth within that sense of knowing. And if you're like, gosh, I don't really have anything, well, I'm going to teach you some things today, and maybe this can be your starting point. So staying inward and keeping your eyes closed, I'd like to invite you to bring both hands over your heart center and just continue to settle the weight of your body into your seat. And note the heaviness of the hands, but this heaviness of our hands isn't so much a burden or a weight that we might feel with anxiety or sadness. This is a sense of connection and comfort, security, safety. And then let's move our hands. First, bring them to the bottoms of your ribs. So your elbows are going to be out, and the hand, it rests at the base of the ribs. We're going to start there and bring in that sense of self-knowing within yourself. And then I'll invite you to cross your arms, your forearms, and place your palms, your opposite palm over the opposite side of the ribs. So it's almost like a hug. You can use your fingers to hold the side or just to kind of massage the ribs. And then let's reverse. So whatever arm is on top, bring the other arm on top and do the same. Yeah. And then let's bring both hands onto our belly and be neutral and not judgmental towards yourself. This is more about connection and safety. And then bring one of your hands onto your heart, keeping the other on the belly. And continue to sink into that deeper sense of inner knowing, inner connection, inner security. And then bring awareness back to your feet. You can move your hands to be wherever you'd like them to be, but I encourage you to try to keep them on your body just for a little bit longer. Maybe if there is a position that felt really good or needed a little bit more attention, stay there a little bit longer. Okay, and let's bring our hands back to our belly, and we're going to take an exhale and let that navel center come towards the back of your chair. So your hands are going to move closer into the body. And then as you inhale, your hands are going to move away as the belly expands open, the rib cage expands. And when you come to the peak of your inhale, release that gentle effort and just let the belly and the hands float back, emptying the breath. And then inhale. Let the belly expand. Good. Now release your hands. And we're going to go through these different breath practices. So I want to first start with a breath that we call in yoga ujjayi. Ujjayi. And it's very warming. And this is actually what I was doing in the car ride home from my office to the house. And basically, ujjayi is where you are constricting the base of the throat. An easy way to think about this is when you're doing a Darth Vader breath. So when you inhale, you can hear it. When you exhale and it's through the nose, you've got that Darth Vader. Sometimes we'll call it ocean breath. And here's another way to think of it. If you bring your hand to your face, we're going to inhale through our nose. And we're going to exhale through our mouth. and try to fog our hand where we're feeling that warmth on our hand. And then the next time you inhale through your nose, keep the mouth closed, but exhale and try to warm the hand. Good. And we're going to do this a couple of more times. Breathing in, letting the belly expand, breathing through the nose, and exhaling out. Good. One more time. And out. So you might even start feeling some warmth already. It's pretty amazing. And so we're going to keep with this. And so breath can warm us, and you're going to see some of this as we move forward. It also can balance our nervous system, right? When we're in that active state, and it's almost feeling more like an anxious state. This alternate nostril breathing can bring the rested and the active state back into equilibrium. Likewise, when we're feeling more on the overly rested, more the depressed lethargic side, alternate nostril breathing can bring our nervous system back into equilibrium. And so this is where the tissues can be helpful. They're going to be even more helpful in a little bit. But what we want to do is bring your pointer finger and middle finger to the palm of your hand so that the thumb and the ring finger are unencumbered, because we're going to be using the thumb on the outside of the right nostril, the ring finger on the outside of the left. Okay. And so go ahead and pinch off your left nostril, and we're going to breathe in through the right. Pinch off the right, open the left, and exhale left. And we're going to repeat. Inhale left. Open the right, exhale right. Inhale right. Close the right, open the left, exhale left. Inhale left. And exhale right. Okay. So bring your hand back down to your lap and take a cleansing breath. Now, what you would do is you would do that 3 times on one side, and then you would switch to the other. When I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm having a hard time going to sleep, I'll do that, but I won't even bring my hand to my face. I'll just imagine the breath going up my right nostril, exhaling out the left, inhaling left. So what we're doing is it's bilateral stimulation. We're stimulating both hemispheres of the brain. The brain loves it. The vagus nerve loves it. And we just get a good dose of endorphins, and it's very smoothing to our feathers. So alternate nostril breathing, you can find videos, instructional videos on the internet. Sometimes people will place their fingers here at their third eye center. So you can find different variations. The next one is where we take some breath pumps. So inhaling 3 times and then exhaling slowly through our mouth. So I'll demonstrate it. You can feel free to join me. And you could even breathe out through the nose. Inhaling, exhaling through the nose. Inhale, 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 out through the nose. Okay. Notice the sensations around the body as you did that. Okay, so we're going to add to it now, and we're going to move into our chair yoga. And so this actually has a way of activating joy as well. So, so what we're going to do is inhale, bring our arms up, inhale again with our arms out, inhale, and then exhale, bring it out your torso over your lap and just completely release. All right, inhale. One more time. All right. So it feels complicated at first. It will take some practice, but I'm hoping you all feel a difference just from that. And you'll notice just this effervescence typically through the torso, through the body. So let's move into some stretches, and we're going to lift our arms up, the elbows, try to bring them in alignment with your shoulders. And we're going to do some side stretches here. So stretching to the left, that left elbow comes in towards the body or maybe rests on the armrest. You could extend that right arm over. And then exhale, come back. This is like our Super Bowl posture, the field goal. Now we'll stretch over to the right, rest your arm, the right arm, maybe extend that left. Good. Coming back to center. Let's do that one more time. Reaching over, expanding through the right side body, grounding through the right sit bone. Good. Bring it back to center. Exhale when you're ready, over to the right. And breathe. And come back to your Super Bowl arms, and let's curl it in. So hug that navel center in, elbows come towards each other, and we're opening up behind the heart, between the shoulder blades. We're going to inhale, reach it open, shine that heart forward. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, bring it open, 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 open those elbows. Good. And now we're going to bring our opposite hand over our opposite shoulder, but try to bring your hands to the sides of the arms or the side of the shoulder. Take a nice deep breath in, lift the elbows, arch the spine, and exhale, curl it in. Bring those elbows in. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Inhale, reach it up. Come into a little back bend. The tailbone bends or curves. Exhale, curve it in. Let's do it one more time. Inhale. And exhale. And feel free to breathe through your mouth whenever you need to. Let's switch hands so the opposite hand is on, or arm is on top, and let's just give ourselves a rub. And notice the warmth that comes from rubbing our arms, our shoulders, our heart center. And then let's twist to the left. So root your feet down. Your knees are at a 90-degree angle, and you can bring this right hand to the outside of the left knee. And we're going to hug the navel center and keep your hips planted. Those root bones really, those sits bones really root down. And then we're going to twist from the belly button, the navel center. So lift out of the pelvic bowl, lift through the crown of the head, and maybe even bring your chin towards the left shoulder. When you're ready to release, inhale and come back to center and switch sides. So that left hand comes to the outside of the left leg, and we root through the sits bones. We pull up that energy line from our root lock, from that perineum, all the way through the crown of the head as we twist at the navel center. And the chin can come towards the right shoulder. Good. And come back to center and wiggle the fingers, wiggle the upper body. Good. And now extend your legs, and you can always scoot to the top of your chair and cross your ankles. And we're going to clasp our hands, and we're going to take a nice deep breath in. Bring the hands behind the head. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hands over and push that energy down the legs through the feet. And then inhale, bring it back. Exhale, send it down, reaching the palms of the hands towards the feet. Hug that navel center in. Inhale. And then switch ankles. So the next ankle is on top. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hands down the legs. Inhaling, coming back. And exhale. Good. And coming back, releasing. And again, notice the sensations in the body here. And just continue to absorb what I love to call the nectar of our practice. And note the parts of the body that are really responding to your practice today. Maybe note, the way the warmth in your body, how has that affect your the clarity in your mind right now? Where do you maybe experience some openness in the body? And we did some of that breath work towards the end was really energizing, right? So if you're feeling that low energy and that heaviness, those activating breaths can really help us click in again. And it also really helps after lunch, right? When our blood sugars start to drop. So I'm going to read a poem for you. Bernard Ascension, I am going to assume is the pronunciation. And Bernard wrote, "Let love warm your heart." And I thought this was really fitting with it actually being February and not March. And he does reference March and the ninth Friday. So we'll just, you can either substitute in February or pretend it's March. But he writes, "Let love warm your heart, your mind and soul too. Zone of deep affection aims to make it through. Greatest gift from above ends the dark blue and gray. Never be sad or lonely. Early March, ninth Friday. Rain and chilly wind aim to vanish or depart. Let the beacon bathe your mind. Let love warm your heart." And so I encourage you all as we move into this month that we can find connection within ourselves when we're feeling that dull fog and connect with the breath. And that's one of the greatest ways to be a friend towards ourselves is connecting with our breath, coming inward, and knowing that we have the ability to work with our nervous system to either bring it to a greater sense of peace and restedness or to energize us, right? And but we always want to aim for that equilibrium, and we don't want to always be in action, 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 and using breath for more action, right? We need to let if we've been in action, we need to create space for rest. If we've been resting, we need to create some action. And just know we are in a time of the year where we are going to need more rest than usual. So just be mindful of keeping the balance. So you all can find the recorded sessions on our Ascension, Wisconsin EAP YouTube channel. And I will probably have this loaded up onto our YouTube channel, if not by the end of this week, early next week. And so I hope you find opportunities to come back to it or explore breathwork more. And to close, our keyword for those of you earning wellness points, the keyword is warmth, and finding warmth within ourselves, creating warmth, and remembering the love that surrounds us and is within us. So reach out to us if you have any questions. If you'd like to set up an appointment for counseling or to start counseling, I should say, I have our contact information here. You can use our 1-800 number. You could use the EAP email. And again, find us on YouTube. And I'm so thrilled that you all joined us. Remember, the Zoom link is changing, and you will get several notifications about this in the next couple of weeks. So be sure to change it in your recurring message. And so I am very grateful for you all.